Good evening, class. Okay, today also we are going to continue with the longitudes and latitudes, what we covered in our previous lesson. And if you can remember what we covered on the previous lesson, we were talking about how can you differentiate between longitudes and latitudes, or given the globe of the heart. I gave the definition of longitude and latitudes, and also I gave how, given the globe of the heart, how can you indicate these are the latitudes and these are the longitudes. Also now, today we are going to look on how can you find the degree difference between two given latitudes or the degree difference between two given longitudes. That's what we are going to do. Then, the moment we find that degree difference, how can we use the degree difference to find the distance between the two given longitudes or latitudes? And also, how can we just give the same degree difference to find maybe the length which is being covered from one given point on the globe of the heart to another given point on the globe of the heart. And if I can maybe show using the globe of the heart, this is the sketch of the globe of the heart. We'd like to say maybe that what is running from here north to the south is what we call the longitude. I'm just reminding you on what we covered. What's running from here to south, from north to south, or from south to north. All of these lines you see, which are running from north to south, we call them the longitudes. And also, what we have here, the one which is in red, painted in red, we call it the equator, because it can divide the globe into two equal parts. That is towards the north part of the globe and towards the southern part of the globe. And I said, when we talk about equator, it is always 0 degrees north, south. So that's what we try to cover when we were talking about the globe of the heart. Now, I'm just imagining that what we have here is the globe of the heart. Now we have this one as the globe of the heart. We have that one as the globe of the heart. I'm just trying to draw what we have here on the board. So we have the line, which is just running from north pole to south pole. This is running from north pole to south pole, and we call this line the prime meridian. It is neither south, east, nor west of the globe. Also, we have this line, which is 0 degrees. We call it the equator. These are the lines which are dividing the globe into two equal parts. Towards east and west, we have the prime meridian, which is dividing it into two. Also, towards north or south, we have the equator, which is dividing the globe also into two equal parts. Now, if you are being given this line maybe from here to here, which is 20 degrees north, then we have another line here, which is maybe 50 degrees north. We might also have another line here on the southern part of it, which is maybe this might be 30 degrees south, and we can be having another one here, which is also maybe 60 degrees south. Now, if you have this one, from this is 0, the moment you keep on moving towards south pole, the degree difference keeps on increasing. But in terms of what? In terms of south. Because that is the reason we have 30 degrees south, maybe 40 degrees south, 60 degrees, up to 90 degrees south. Then, the moment we move from the equator upward, then we start increasing towards, that is the reason we have 20 degrees north, we have 50 degrees north, we might be having 70 degrees north, but the highest is 90 degrees north. So the highest rated is 90, and the north pole we have 90 degrees north, and at the south pole we have 90 degrees south. That is the major discrepancy you can see when we talk about towards north pole and south pole. That is the major difference. Now, also from here, the moment you keep on moving towards east, unaenda mpaka 180 degree east. Also, the moment you keep on moving from this point, unaenda mpaka 180 degree west. So that if you had 180 degrees east and 180 degrees west, you find 180. But this one, if you had this 90 degrees towards north pole, and this 90 degrees, you have to find 180 because this is a straight line. That is the reason the highest degree is 90 and the lowest is 90 as well, but towards south and towards north. So that if you had 90 plus 90, it's going to give you 180 degrees because they are lying on a straight line. Now, that is not important. What is important for us is that how can we find the degree difference between between two given points. Now, I'm just assuming, now let me try to draw the longitudes. Maybe this longitude is maybe 30 degrees towards east. Now, the moment we name the longitude, we name them in terms of east or west. Then we have another one here. I told you the moment you keep on moving to the other side, the degree difference keeps on increasing towards east. Maybe this is our 70 degrees. Maybe this is our 70 degrees towards east. Then we can have another line here. This is maybe 40 degrees towards west, because the moment you move from this one to Java, you just go it towards west. Also, we have this line here. This is maybe 80 degrees towards west. 80 degrees towards west. Those are some of the lines that we have. We have this one, which is the longitude. We are running from north to south. And also we have the latitudes, which are running from west to east. Now, I'm just trying to assume that we have a point. Let us assume this is our point. This is our point A. This is our point B. We have our point B there. Then we have this is our point C. We have this is our point C. We have this is our point D. Then you can say this is our point E. You can say this is our point A. We can also say what we have here is our point maybe X, and as well we can say what we have here is our point Y, I'm just using the technical point so that we can see how can we find the degree difference between two given points. Now, if you have to consider point A and point P, this is our point A and this is our point P. Now, this point A is on 50 degrees north. This point B is on 20 degrees north. So the degree difference between this A and the P, you do what? You minus the latitude. So that for us to have the degree difference between point A and the point P is going to be 50 minus 30. Now, okay, I'm just going to show you that one later. So between point A and the P, the degree difference is going to be what? 50 minus 20, which is going to give us what? 30 degrees, which is going to give us 30 degrees. Because this point A is lying under the latitude of 50 degrees north, and this point P is lying under the latitude of 20 degrees north. So both of them are on north. Because if you look at this one, this is 50 degrees north, this is also 20 degrees north. Now, what does that mean? When they lie on the same latitude, on the same section of the latitude, we minus the degree difference. When they lie, the same thing applies here. If we have to consider point C and D, now on point A and B, both of them were lying on the same section of the upper part of the equator, which is 50 degrees north. Also, this one we have 50 degrees, 20 degrees north. So both of them are on north. But when we consider C and D, when you consider point C and point D, C is 30 degrees south on the latitude of 30 degrees south, and point D is on the latitude of 60 degrees south. So both of them are on south. This is south, and also this is what? South. So both of them are lying on the southern part of the globe. So if they lie on the same side, I've said we do what? We minus. So the degree difference between point C and D is going to be 60 minus 30, which is also what? 30 degrees. We don't say now the degree difference is not to solve. It is 30 degrees, that is the difference. Now, that is how we find the degree difference between the points which are lying on the same side. And when I talk about lying on the same side, meaning either they are on north, or they are on south. That's what I mean by, or they are on east, and they are on west. That is the points which are lying on the same side. And I've just made my explanation that I want to talk about the same side. That means either they are both of them are on north, south, east, or west. Now, let us try to consider the one which is lying on the opposite side. And when we talk about opposite side, maybe moja iko north and the other one iko south, or moja iko east and the other one iko west. For example, let us consider point A, and point C. I want us to consider point A and point C. I want you to consider point A and point C. If you look at point A, point A is on 50 degrees north. Point A is on 50 degrees north. And if we have to consider point C is on 30 degrees south. So this one is north and this one is what? South. So when they lie on different sides, either moja iko north, ingine iko south, or ingine iko west, ingine iko east, we had to find the degree difference. So the degree difference between point A and point C is going to be 50, plus 30, which is going to give us what? 80 degrees, which is going to give us 80 degrees. And I've made my explanation very clear that the moment they lie on different sides, that is, and I said, when we talk about the different side, either one is on north, the other one is on south, or one is on east, the other one is on west, we do what? We had to find the degree difference. That is the reason previously when we were considering AP to the final name to the minus. And what was the reason we had to minus? Because both of them, A and P, both of them are on what? Are on north. But now, if we consider A and C, if we consider point A and point C, point A equal 50 degrees north, but if we consider point C equal 30 degrees south. So this one is on north, this one is on what? South. So since they are on the opposite side, we do what? We do addition here. We do addition here to find the degree difference, which is equivalent to 80. Now, I want us to consider point X, point Y, and the P. I want us to consider these 2 points. We have point Y and point P. We have point Y and point P. We have point Y and point P. Now, if you consider point Y and point P, point Y, this longitude is 40 degrees west. And if you consider point P, this longitude of P, is 30 degrees east. So this is 30 degrees east, this is 30 degrees east, this is 40 degrees west, this is 40 degrees west. We consider the longitude, This longitude is 40 degrees west. And if you consider this longitude along P, this longitude along P is 30 degrees east. So since this one is 40 degrees west, this one is 40 degrees east, then for us to find the degree difference between these two given points, Y and the P, we are going to have 40 plus 30, which is going to give us what? 70 degrees, which is going to give us 70 degrees. That is how we find the degree difference between two given points. So what you have to do, the moment you are being told, find maybe the degree difference between point A and point P, maybe between point E and point C. For example here, if we consider point P and point C, also we are going to do the same thing. If we have, let us assume we have another point here, which is Z. I want us to have another point at that point, given point, which is point Z. Now, I want us to consider Z, and C. I want us to consider Z and Z. We have this one, Z and Z, we have to consider. Now, if you look at the point Z, this Z, if you try to look on this longitude of Z, this longitude is 80 degrees west. This longitude is 80 degrees west. And if you consider the longitude of this point C, it is also 30 degrees east. So this one is 80 degrees west, this one is 80 degrees west, this one is 30 degrees east. That's longitude. So the degree difference between point Z and the C is going to be 80 plus 30. The reason is because they are lying on the opposite sides of the globe. This is towards west, this is towards east. So the degree difference between them is going to be 80 degrees plus 30 degrees, which is going to give us what? It is going to give us 110 degrees, which is going to give us 110 degrees. That is how we find the degree difference between two given points. And now I've made it very clear that the moment we have the degree difference between two given points, then you have to consider the direction. You have to consider the direction. If they are on the opposite direction, we do what we had. But if they are on the same direction or at the same side, then we do what? We minus. That was the major guarantee. And now, the moment we know how you find the degree difference between two given points, now that knowledge is going to assist us in finding the distance between two given points. For example, if you are being told to find the distance between point A and point P, if you are being told to find the distance between point A and P, the first thing you have to know or to find is the degree difference. Because there is no way you can find the distance AP without finding the degree difference. So in our next lesson, we are going to see how can you use this degree difference we have just come up with to find the distance between two given points. That marks the end of our lesson. Let us now meet in the next lesson and see how can you find the distance from one point to another using the same degree difference.